Welcome to Buildings and Business, the one place where we help you build wealth through real estate and entrepreneurship. I'm Alexis HART McDowell, a real estate attorney, investor, and hard money lender located here in Chicago. And today we're going to be talking about builders risk insurance and why it is so important. So stay tuned. I've got a special guest by Kirk Gregory Jr., also known as Agent K, and he'll be joining me momentarily to discuss all things builder's risk. Welcome, Kirk. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you on.
Oh, no problem. Welcome and good morning to everybody that's watching this and tuning into the recap. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. So, Kirk, you are the insurance man extraordinaire. So many real estate attorneys, real estate brokers, and other real estate professionals, we refer our clients to you because your customer service is just so amazing. But more than your customer service, your knowledge is
Thank you.
what people are seeking out so they can get their questions answered, their concerns allayed, their worries put down. So, thank you for being here and sharing the gift of your knowledge with us on the topic of builder's risk today.
Oh, no
So,
problem.
builder's risk is some people have never even heard of builder's risk, and they don't understand how important it is, whether you're in a fix and flip, if you're building new construction as a developer, and as an investor in these projects. If you're putting money in, why builder's risk is important for you as well. Not that you need to carry it, but you need to certainly be asking if the developer has it. So why don't you tell us, what is builder's risk insurance?
Builder's risk insurance is homeowners insurance, except it's vacant. We know the property going to be vacant while you're doing renovation. And why it's called a builder's risk is because, for one, there's a little bit more risk on the insurance company insuring that property because we know it's vacant. And people are watching you bring in materials, taking materials. So it's a little bit more liability than a typical homeowners insurance where we know that the homeowner is going to be living there on a day-to-day basis and somebody's going to be there more than likely, majority of the time. But builder's risk insurance is for renovations, like she said, new construction, remodeling.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that. I think a lot of people need to understand that it is for buildings that are vacant under renovation, right? I think that was a key thing that you had mentioned. So, when you have homeowners insurance, that's because you're living in the home, but this is meant for renovating, construction. It covers the risk that you had mentioned during those processes. So, we appreciate that. Are there things that you can do to reduce your premium when you're under construction or under renovation for an investment property?
Yes, you can get an alarm that's monitored, which means that when the alarm is triggered, the alarm company calls the police. It doesn't automatically call you and depend on you. You get a discount for that. The reason why people get confused with different other alarm companies that aren't monitors, because let's say, for instance, if you're out of town, right, and the alarm company calling you like, hey, something's at your property, but you're unavailable because you're relaxing. That's why we require that you only get a discount when you get an alarm system that is monitored. So like Brinks, ADT, those kind of companies. A fence as well. You can get one for a fence. But the main discount for a builder's risk is an alarm. That's the biggest one. And bundling your policies as well with your insurance company, which means that you're bundling your builder's risk with whoever you have your current auto insurance with, your life insurance with, your regular homeowners, or your landlord policies with. You get a discount for doing more business with your current insurance agent.
Okay, wow. Okay, so you will stack discounts even for builder's risk as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. So, who should get builder's risk insurance? Is it for subcontractors? Is it for property owners? Is it for investors? Who should be getting builder's risk insurance?
It's the investor. Whoever owns the property, and doing a renovation, they should have builder's risk. So that can be the developer, that could be the investor, that could be even you. You don't think you're an investor yet, but you're going to become an investor. You need this coverage because no other policy is going to insure a property that's vacant other than builder's risk. The contractors don't need it unless they own the property or they're a part owner of the project. But again, whoever needs builder's risk is the person that owns the property.
Thank you for clearing that up. And I just want to say that as a hard money lender, my company is Epic Impact Investors, and we do require builder's risk insurance on any property that we have a loan out with. Okay. And we are listed as an additional insured or a loss payee on that insurance. So you hit the nail on the head saying that even if you're an investor, and I just want to let you all know that that is a true gem, because you have a lot of investors out here, private investors, who are giving money to renovation projects, but they never think about whether or not this project has builder's risk insurance and who's going to get paid if something happens to this property, so that your investment isn't completely lost. So I'm so glad that you mentioned investors as well, especially if you have the primary loan on the property, the biggest loan. You absolutely need to be added as a loss pay or additional insured on that
And I want
builder's
to
risk
add
policy.
real quick, even if you purchase a property cash, you need to have builder's risk. I run into that more than often because, like Alexis said, she was saying that she requires, you can't close on a house without having builder's risk insurance. We go through a hard money lender. But if you
That's
purchase
right.
cash, nobody's sitting there telling you, hey, this is what you have to do. So even if you purchase the property cash, you need to make sure you get builder's risk insurance, because if something happens, I understand you might have money in the bank, but you don't want to use your money. You want to use other people's money. I would even recommend even purchasing the property cash. I'd rather you talk to Alexis so you can get the loan, so you don't have to put that cash all up front anyways. But that's probably a different topic.
That was great, Kirk. That was absolutely right. So that was excellent. So let me ask you, as a follow up to that, once we have the builder's risk insurance, how long does it take for the policy to go live or for it to take effect?
As soon as you pay for it, as soon as you purchase it, it goes active. Now, I only recommend you purchasing the insurance, of course, if you close on the house or when you know you'll have the keys to the property. Because a lot of people sometimes get the builder's risk before they own a property. And I tell them no, because you don't own the key. You don't have the keys yet. So it doesn't make sense. You don't be paying for something that you don't own yet. So to answer your question, you get the policy started as soon as you purchase the property.
Excellent. So I always want to walk people through this process as well so that they understand. And to your point, they're not paying for it before they own it. We will require buyers to pay for their policy in full prior to closing, but that can just be done the day before because we already know we're closing the next day. So they could have already gotten the quote from you, right? You can give them a written quote. They'll submit that to me. I'll check the coverage, make sure it's okay. And then literally all they have to do is follow your payment protocols, make that payment, they get a receipt. And then they show that to me, and at closing, we're like, all right, we can check that box off that's done and paid for, right?
Absolutely. Then another thing, what makes me different than other insurance agents out there is that I understand the investors' timing of the policies. I'm one of the agents where if you sold the property 6 months within the policy, we can cancel whatever money you haven't used, but refund it back to you. Now, a lot of insurance
Yes.
agents don't like to do that because that's like a kind of a drawback. But I'm thinking long term that if I'm able to do that, that's repeat business. And I might better do a project with you. So I think long term, so I'm the insurance agent that's going to help you out.
That is so good, you all. That is another huge gem that, even though if you paid for the policy, you think it's going to take 12 months to do this renovation and it was done and sold in 9 or 10, he can cancel that policy for the remainder amount and you'll get a refund of that month now of the remaining balance. Now, Kirk, to that point, do you offer builder's insurance on a monthly basis, or what's your minimum term?
You have the monthly basis option, which is the minimum. You have a quarterly basis, 6 months, or annual, however you like to
Oh,
pay for it.
wow.
Mhm.
Those are some excellent options to really help people manage their budgets, manage their expenses. That's excellent.
And to understand this, it's not always about money, because a lot of these investors, we're trying to rebuild our communities. And if we're not helping each other out and it's always about money and not the value, then we can't build. So that's why I understand the bigger picture. So even if I take a little small kickback off that, that helps another family and helps that family bring in more generational wealth. Then in the end, I might get a better policy, or I might be able to come and be a partner with that person or nothing, or something like that. So you never know what happens, but that's why I do business the way that I do business.
Yes, thank you. That's why I wanted you on, because you have the same heart for the community that I do, and understanding that, hey, it's about the value that we have to provide in order to bring our communities back, and in order to invest in our communities, right? We're gonna make our money. We're gonna do that. We're professionals. People are seeking us out, but we know that the and underlying matter and the big picture for us is the health and well-being and the revibration of our communities. So thank you for saying that. Now, what do you recommend a builder's risk policy should cover? Because, you know, there's contractors things, there's building materials. I actually have one of my developer clients, a building they purchased collapsed, like the walls fell down, so they couldn't even do anything with that. Does it cover profit? Like, what are the main things that builders risk insurance covers, and what are things that you can do to, you know, purchase additional coverage if you want something additional added?
So it covers liability. So if a contractor or somebody broke onto the property because it's vacant and they got hurt on the premises, they can legally sue you, because whatever happens on the premises, you're liable for it because you're the owner, the property owner. That'll be covered. The materials on site, because again, we understand as an insurance company that people are watching you bring in copper pipes, drywall, material. They're watching you. And sometimes it's unfortunate in our communities that those people break in. That material is covered, not the subcontractor's tools. They have to have their separate insurance, but the building material itself that you would have a receipt for, that you got from Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, or anything like that, that will be covered. If it's building collapse, the structure of the property is insured as well. What else is insured? The roof, of course, is insured. Reasonable profit won't be insured because you don't have any income coming in. But once you get the project done, if you decide to keep the property and rent it out, that income, if you were to have a claim and the tenant can't live on the premises while we're doing repairs, then we'll replace that rental income that you would have been losing. So that's when the reasonable profit comes into play. Other than that, liability is covered, which is major, because sometimes even a subcontractor tries to sue you if they get hurt on the premise because they don't have the proper coverage for health insurance. Collapse, the structure, of course, needs to be insured, because if you buy the property, you want to rebuild it. And the building materials, that's very important. Those three things are the main things that you want to, and vandalism, because again, if vacant, a lot of people vandalize property that is vacant. Even though they see you're trying to do good within the community, I don't understand why, but they still do it. But vandalism is covered as well. So if you pulled up to your property and somebody put graffiti on the side of your wall, we'll pay for that.
Wow. Oh my God. You just dropped so much information in that one little response. First, I want to just reiterate that you said subcontractor tools are not covered, because I have worked with clients where subcontractors have left their tools overnight at the work site, and then someone comes and steals them. And then now they're looking at the owner like, well, you owe me. You should have kept this site secure. You need to file a claim on your insurance. And so the subcontractors just need to know up front, like, our builder's risk insurance doesn't cover your tools. So you take your stuff home every night. If you leave it here, you're leaving it here at your own risk. And I'm not going to be responsible for that, because that is a common thing that contractors and subcontractors will try to do to developers and owners of the property. So thank you for clearing that up.
No problem. Can I add a little thing to that? So it's always good to make sure your contract that you choose has insurance, because their personal property is automatically, if they're properly insured, I've said, because a lot of subcontractors like to cut corners, and I'm one of those insurance that don't allow them to do that. But their personal property is already included in their subcontractor, general contractor's insurance. So you just got to make sure that they're insured properly before you choose them, to have prevents that even happening.
Oh God, that is so good. Yes, you want to double check their insurance because they will say it, but guess what? Bring me the proof, and then call the person and verify. Because I have seen when people have presented forms and they weren't valid. You have to call and take all of the steps to make sure that your project is going to be your project and the people on your project are properly insured. God, that was so good. I love the information and the level of knowledge that you bring to this, especially with regard to theft of the building materials, liability, all of that is covered. That is so important. And how do we determine, Kirk, what we should insure a project for? Like,
Mhm.
is there a coverage limit? How do we determine the value of the insurance?
So typically the coverage limit is the whole loan amount. So we don't insure the project for replacement costs because it hasn't been done yet. But what we do insure is how much you purchased the house for, the property for, and how much you're going to calculate for renovation. So it's the total loan amount is what we insure the project for. Once the project is done, and once you sold it or you decide to keep the property, that's when we're able to insure that property for replacement costs.
Excellent, excellent. Let me ask you, what happens if a loss occurs, right? Like, let's just say someone came and did vandalize and steal copper and, some building materials. What are the steps? What do I do?
Give your insurance agent a call first. Now, all insurance companies do have a 1-800 number, but I always educate my clients. Try to call me first so I can educate you on how to get this claim done because sometimes you might say the wrong thing, or I just want to educate you properly so that you know, hey, is this a claim that you want to file? Is this a claim you don't want to file? How to educate you on how to probably go through it. Call me first so I can tell you and educate you on the steps. So to answer your question, call your insurance agent first.
Oh God, I never thought about that. Call the agent first. I told clients, like, yeah, call your insurance company, but it's really call your agent,
Call me
especially if
first.
the agent is you, so that
Mhm.
he can help you. You're on their team. You're here to help them, not
Absolutely.
become a barrier to them when they're actually in need of it. And you're
Mhm.
right. We will say the wrong things or present it the wrong way, right?
Mhm.
Or not provide all of the accurate information that we need in order to get that claim approved.
Or
So,
it might be something that you don't even want to file. It might be something that's five hundred
right.
dollars. You don't want to waste your time. I'll just tell you, hey, you might want to take care of that.
Right, right. Oh, that's good to know too. That's good to know too. So,
Mhm.
are you only able to file one claim on your insurance,
No,
and then it's done, or how does that work?
there's no limit. But if you file a lot of claims, you know, we're even though we're an insurance company, we're still a company. So that means we have to make a profit. So we see you constantly making claims throughout the years. We got to charge you a little bit more. I mean, we'll still take you on, but you got to pay a little bit more because, like I said, we're a business. We have to make profit. So we see we're taking on your liability, but you're costing us more money. We got to charge you a little bit
Right. You're a riskier project. You're a riskier investment, so you have to pay more.
more. But to answer your question again, there is no limit to filing claims. Just don't file a lot of claims, and that's why I always educate my clients. Call me first because I'm like, hey, this is the fifth time you done called me in a year. Something going on. We got to have a different conversation, you know? Or there's something else
Hmm.
going on other than that. And that's where I built that relationship with my client. So like, just call me so we can just see what our plan is going to be.
Right, right. So why would a builder's risk insurance claim be denied? Like why have some been denied in the past?
For one, it's under your deductible. So homeowners, well, builders risk insurance has what's called a deductible. Now, this deductible doesn't operate the same as your auto insurance deductible, where if you get into a car accident, you have to pay your deductible up front before you get your car fixed or even looked at sometimes. How this deductible operates is we just take it out of the check. So, for instance, let's say you had a $2,000 deductible, right? And you had $10,000 worth of damage. We'll cut you a check for $8,000. It basically means any damages under your deductible, you're responsible for. Anything over that amount, that's when insurance kicks in. So that's one way an insurance claim can be denied if the claim is too small and it's not over your deductible. Number two, negligence. Like if you had a fire and the fire department wrote in the report like, "Hey, somebody clearly started this fire," and we have reports, that's another thing that it will be denied And again, if you knew something was wrong and somebody knew it and we've been telling you about it and then something happens, we would deny that claim. For instance, if we started the policy and we go out and see the roof is just about to, I don't know, some just collapse or some issues with it, right? And we say, hey, we need to take care of this. Like this is something other than a renovation. If something happens, we have the reason to deny it. So just be in constant communication with your insurance agent and be aware of your deductible. I'll always educate my clients on their deductible. Communicate with your client, with your insurance agent, so that your claims don't get denied. But just be a good person with it. Don't try to take advantage of your insurance policies. A lot of people do. Insurance fraud is very big. But I know a lot of my clients don't do that. But those are the reasons why a claim will get denied.
Oh, that's excellent, excellent information. So, Kirk, thank you so much for sharing all of this knowledge here today. I learned a few new things as well that I am excited to share with my clients. But tell the people how they can reach you. You are with Country Financial, but tell them how they can reach out to you.
You can reach me on my cell phone number at 773-619-0649. Again, my number is 773-619-0649. You can follow me on Instagram at Agent K _. Again, that is Agent K _ like Men in Black. That's why I got my name. I'm also on Facebook as well, Kirk Gregory Jr. My dad's on Facebook, got the same name, and he's actually an insurance agent with Country Financial as well. So you might see me or him, but I'm a good looking one. But you can follow him as well because he can help him. He can help you out as well. But those are my 3 platforms.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So, thank you again for joining Buildings and Business, the one place that we teach our community how to build wealth through real estate and entrepreneurship. I'm Alexis HART McDowell, and with me today was Kirk Gregory Jr., also known as Agent K. If you all are in the need for builder's risk insurance, please reach out to him. He is just a wealth of knowledge and a great partner to have in the industry. If you're in need of a legal or business information, services, reach out to me at enterpriseesquire.com. Thank you all and have a great one.
Have a great one.